The Trump vice presidential sweepstakes continue. This process has been all over the place, and no matter the direction of the conversation, some people are going to be happy, some people are going to be neutral, and some people are going to be pissed. No matter what you do, no matter the decision, no matter who it ends up being, somebody's always going to disagree. And so before people get frustrated, I want to say ahead of the video that I'm here purely to analyze. There's no truly right decision, it's kind of hard to say. Things change with time. Look at Mike Pence. He started off as a relatively likable character, pretty neutral, unoffensive. Well, unoffensive to most people, extremely offensive to some of the demonic figures that we see on the left, of course. But anyways, it started off as pretty neutral and turned out pretty bad. Now he's here playing the leftist media grift game, publicly refusing to endorse Donald Trump ahead of the most important election. So I'm not going to make any statements like, this is the right person, this is the person who should get the job, this is objectively the best person for the job. I'm not going to say any of that. I just want to update you guys on where we're at, give my analysis, analyze the pros and cons of different candidates. Let's try to be as objective as possible. I think a lot of people that are in the running right now are certainly perceived as decent picks, so I'm expecting a relatively positive outcome regardless. So I guess with all that said, with that out of the way, let's get into the Trump VP sweepstakes. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, so here's today's announcement. It seems as though Vivek Ramaswamy is officially out of the running for that vice presidential spot, at least according to reports. Breaking: President Trump is considering Vivek Ramaswamy for a cabinet position, but not vice president. On Monday, it was reported that Vivek Ramaswamy is no longer under consideration to be Donald Trump's pick for vice president. The former commander-in-chief told his former competitor that he would instead try to set him up in a cabinet position. According to Bloomberg, sources familiar with the matter revealed that Trump contacted Ramaswamy personally to deliver the news. Among the positions being considered is the Department of Homeland Security Secretary. Among those considered for potential cabinet positions by Trump and his team are another former GOP primary adversary, North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum, along with Representative Elise Stefanik and former U.S. Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer. Per Bloomberg, Trump is looking for a running mate who isn't motivated by the limelight, but who will give him a measurable edge in the race against Joe Biden. According to those familiar with his thinking, Trump has confided to close advisors and allies that none of the names circulating as potential running mates have impressed him much. His list of options has only grown longer, not shorter, according to people close to the former president. And so it seems as though Vivek is out. Now, I know this is probably very frustrating news for a lot of people, especially young conservatives. And what I'm going to ask again is that you don't take your anger out on me. Trust me, and I think it's pretty clear considering my reporting over the last, year or so. I like Vivek a lot. I would have loved to see him as VP, but it just doesn't seem realistic. And this is basically the prediction that I made months ago. I just have a hard time seeing two alpha dogs on the ticket. And in a way, I think it does actually make sense. The vice presidential role, in my view, is a marketing role. It's not even really a real job. I mean, Mike Pence never actually did anything. For 4 years during that first term, his job was to stand there and look serious. But most importantly, his job was to appeal to evangelical voters. That was the purpose of Mike Pence, and really that's the purpose of a running mate. It's almost like extending an olive branch to a very important voter group that you think is crucial to getting across that finish line. That's the purpose of a VP pick. That's the reason why Joe Biden picked Kamala Harris. I mean, why else would he pick Kamala? She was horrible during the debates. I mean, she crashed and burned. A walking, barely talking disaster.
When we talk about the children of the community, they are children of the community. Talking about the significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time.
We got to take this stuff seriously as you are, because you have been forced to have to take it seriously.
You need to get to go and need to be able to get where you need to go to do the work and get home. Certain issues are just settled.
Clearly we're not.
No, that's right. And that's why I do believe that we are living, sadly, in real unsettled times.
I mean, she was an utter embarrassment, yet she got picked anyways. Well, because she was the perfect person to go on Charlemagne's The Show to talk about all the reefer she smoked while listening to Tupac and Snoop Dogg. I guess they learned from their 2016 mistake of sending Hillary Clinton to talk about hot sauce in her handbag.
No more questions? They said no, she has to go.
What's something that you always carry with you?
Hot sauce.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Are you getting information right now?
Hot sauce.
Hot sauce in my bag, swag?
Hot sauce.
Really?
Yes.
Now listen, I
yes.
just want you to know, people are going to see this and say, okay, she's pandering to black people again.
Okay. Is it working?
Yeah.
And so, of course, Kamala Harris was picked to pander to minority groups. You know, Joe Biden was being labeled as a horrible racist, even by Kamala Harris herself. And so what's the best way to fix it? What's the best way to fix the image problem? With an identity curated VP pick. And so understanding this phenomenon, in my view, it felt unrealistic that Vivek Ramaswamy would ever be the VP, because the VP pick is all about image. And what Donald Trump needs is a little bit of a softer image. I think pretty much everybody can agree with that. You know, I view it almost like a good cop, bad cop kind of thing. You can't have two bad cops. I'm not saying that Donald Trump and Vivek are bad, but you know, they're going to tell it like it is. They're going to challenge. They're what's perceived as the bad cop, and you need a little bit of a soft touch. You need a little bit of soft, and then hit him where you need to. You know, a little bit of a lullaby, kind of lulling your opponents to sleep, and then let's call it getting the job done. I think that's probably where the Trump team's head's at in a way. And it really does make sense because it's all about demographics. You know, obviously you guys know my opinions on race pandering, diversity picks, yada, yada, yada. But if you really think about it from a purely marketing perspective, like in a perfect, idealistic marketing scenario, the best VP pick for Donald Trump would probably be a black woman. Candace Owens, for instance. Although maybe not Candace Owens because she's a little fiery. But you get what I mean? A woman of color would be the perfect person. If we're being as strategic as possible, you want to compensate for some of your weaknesses. And it's no surprise that as a Republican politician, your weakness is with minority groups and women, especially after the Supreme Court's axing of Roe v. Wade. Donald Trump struggles in big metro areas with single women, of course with more moderate-leaning women, suburban mothers, and so obviously reducing some of that weakness in an election cycle, well, it just makes sense. I think that's what the Trump team is thinking. I think the Trump team wants a good cop to go with the bad cop. They want somebody who's not going to pull away from Donald Trump, somebody who's not going to be as, intense in their speech as Donald Trump, somebody with a little bit of a softer touch who can eloquently defend the former president, someone who can hopefully cut through all of the hysteria, cut through all the fear-mongering, and bring people back to reality. Really sell that message that Donald Trump isn't the evil tyrant that the media makes him out to be. And so right now, I think that's pretty much where we're at. According to this report, Donald Trump is unimpressed with every candidate named so far, so we'll have to see who they pick. To be completely honest with you, I have absolutely no idea who's at the top of the list in the sweepstakes right now. Kind of hard to say. I can't read Donald Trump's mind. I can only speculate. What we know right now is that supposedly Vivek is out of the running, and I think in a lot of ways it makes sense, not just for the reasons that I just mentioned, but even in the sense of utilizing Vivek's skills. I think the country would be way better off with Vivek Ramaswamy occupying a position of significant importance as a cabinet member than kind of squandering his skill set as a purely symbolic marketing token. Put him in a position where he could actually get stuff done, be on the ground, push reforms, achieve actual results, rather than have him look pretty and shadow the president. That's my perception. If I was to guess, the rationale behind what's going on, I think the Trump team is probably thinking along those lines. Although, of course, it's impossible to actually tell. So that's pretty much it. That's the update. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.